Just bought a 2022 Kawasaki KLR 650, and this is my review of the motorcycle. Alright, so far I have ridden this motorcycle a little over 100 miles. So the tires are broken in, so now I can finally start to have some fun without having to worry about washing out in a corner. Let's see, it's got the 21-inch front rim. These are tubed tires. You can see the styling is pretty good. I love Kawasaki styling. It always looks aggressive. This is the adventure model. Comes with the spotlights, the crash bars on the top and the bottom. It does have the skid plate, which is a polymer or plastic skid plate instead of metal, which is fine. So the adventure package comes with the Kawasaki saddlebags. They're also polymer. I can't remember what size they are, but they're pretty good size for day trips. Nothing heavy duty. If I ever drop this bike, it'll probably just be crushed. But it's good for day trips. It's got this nice plate mounting plate up here for luggage and cargo. As you can see, I got my lunchbox on here. I'm getting ready to go for a ride. One thing I'll say about this bike is this bike does not like interstate either. So this thing feels comfortable, or seems comfortable, at about 60 miles an hour in 5th gear. It's a 5-speed, 1 down, 4 up. If it had a 6th gear, then this would probably be you know, good for the interstate, but it's really not. If you're on a highway, even if you're on a highway doing like high speed, 65, 70 mile an hour speeds, it's getting loud. It's getting kind of angry. 80 miles an hour, it's screaming pretty good. It's not topped out, but it is screaming pretty good at 80 miles an hour. So this thing is for what I do, basically, which is some light off-roading, you know, backcountry highways, backcountry roads, county roads, state forest roads, national forest roads. That's what it's really made for. So if you're buying this and you plan on doing a lot of adventure riding where you're going long distances on the interstate, you know, this thing's not going to be happy with you. It will do it though. So the fog lights up front, those things are a nice addition. I still haven't rode this thing at night to really see how good they are. They are LED, and then it also has the LED headlight. I love this new Kawasaki headlight design. It looks really aggressive. It's got the clear turn signals, handguard. I went with the extended warranty, so this thing's under warranty by Kawasaki for the next 5 years, so that'll be nice. The handling of this thing is really impressive. For being such a big bike and being basically an oversized dirt bike, it really handles well on the road. Kawasaki did a good job of putting the weight down low with this engine, so it's not top heavy. So it does feel really good. It is a heavy bike. It's around almost 500 pounds. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 492 or 496, something like that. So it is a heavy bike, but once you stand it up off of the kickstand, you don't feel it. While you're riding it, it doesn't feel like a 500-pound bike. It's very nimble. The weight's low, so it does twist and turn quite well. Like I said, I haven't really got hard on it yet because I was still breaking the tires in. I do like the tires. They do seem to grip well from what I've done so far. The windshield is adjustable. It only has 2 settings. Right now it's on its lowest setting. I need to put it on its highest setting and see if that's sufficient enough. If not, I'm going to need to get a taller windshield. So it hits me with the windshield down like this. The wind hits me right about eye level. And I wear an adventure helmet with a visor, you know, but it's aerodynamic, so it allows it to go by. But the wind noise is insane. Like if I duck down, there's a substantial difference in silence from the wind. So I need to raise that up, and like I said, potentially get a taller windscreen. I'm 5'10", so you know, my feet fit comfortably. It is a tall bike because it is an oversized dirt bike. It is tall, but you know, I'm not sitting flat-footed on it, but the balls of my feet are touching pretty firm when I sit on it. So you know, I feel like I have control. I'm not like on my tippy toes. It does have passenger pegs for a passenger. It has an adjustable rear suspension, which is right down here. That little nut right there. You just turn it. Looks like it's on setting 1, which is the softest setting. So I probably need to stiffen that up a little bit. It's supposed to be on 2. That's what it's supposed to be set on from factory or during assembly, but apparently they chose to put it on the 1 setting. You can see the 1 right there. You can see the 1 setting in the little black line, but you just turn that with a wrench with a socket, and you can adjust the suspension. So that's nice, the rear suspension, if you got a bunch of cargo or passengers. It says that you shouldn't put over 401 pounds of cargo on this thing. That includes the riders. So if you have 2 riders, I'm about 175. So if you have 2 riders, then it's saying that you really don't have much room for gear, because once you add a bunch of weight to this bike, it handles completely different. And you just have to, you know, be an intelligent enough rider to know that once you add weight to this thing and it squats down, that it's going to handle different, and the center of gravity is going to be different. Let me see, what else are we going to talk about? This is the first year for the fuel injection, so that's kind of cool. It is very clean and crisp. I love the fuel injection, as opposed to the carburetor from previous years. I was a little nervous about buying first year technology, you know, because they're still trying to work out the bugs and the kinks, and you know, time will tell. But you know, Kawasaki has fuel injection on other motorcycles, so I'm sure they, you know, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure they probably used a fuel injection system that they use on another bike that's already been tested and proven, and put it on here. So I'm not too fearful of it. It is under 5-year warranty, so if it messes up, it's covered under warranty, so I don't care. You got your fuel gauge over here. So it's a 6.1 gallon tank, and there are 6 little squares there, so 1 gallon per square roughly. When it gets down here to E, it will flash the fuel light on the dash. I think it said you have 40 miles, I think. I've noticed that this thing's getting right around 50 miles a gallon. I haven't really measured it out, just kind of guesstimating it right now. As you can see, I got 144 miles on the odometer. I did start the trip over, so when I refilled, so I got about 24 gallons. I got 1 missing. I may not have gotten it completely full up to the top because the bike was leaning over, but yeah, so about 25 miles for that gallon. And you got the speedometer. Doesn't have a tach, as we discussed. It's a budget bike, so you know, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It has a clock over here, which I need to reset because it's an hour behind. Now you got your neutral light, your brights light, check engine. This right here lights up red. You know, if something happens, like any type of alert to trying to get your attention. So if it's check engine light or fuel light, this lights up red. The brakes feel good. Yeah, I mean, you do have to grab a handful of front brake to really slow this thing down, and that may just be because the brakes are new. We'll see once they bed in if that gets better. but it is a single disc front on a 500-pound bike. They do have a dual piston caliper on the front, and it, you know, it does a sufficient job of stopping it, especially if you use the rear brake to you know, assist. It definitely stops the bike and slows it down at a pretty quick pace. I have noticed the back tire barking when I downshift or deaccelerate, and that could just be because the tires haven't been broken in yet and they're still kind of waxy. I guess we'll find out today, but we're coming into a corner, you know, downshifting and then letting out on the clutch, the tires are barking a little bit, so, which is fine. That doesn't bother me. I ride a lot of motocross as well, so the back end getting a little squirrely coming into a corner doesn't scare me too much. Mirrors are pretty good. You can't see out of them at idle or at speed. I mean, you can see objects, you can tell that there's a car behind you or beside you, but you can't that next door neighbor on one of his bikes. Yeah, you can't make it out clearly. You can read a license plate. If it was a Charger or a Dodge Durango or, you know, Ford Explorer, you wouldn't be able to tell whether it was a police officer or not. You'd have to look back. You know, the vibration from this thing does make those mirrors bounce around, like I said, even at idle, just sitting at a stoplight. They did rubber mount these handlebars this year to help cut down on the vibration. I've never rode a KLR before this, so I don't have any comparison to say whether or not it worked or helped with the vibration through the handlebars. Vibration is pretty low. You can feel a little bit in your hands and your feet and your butt, even when I have, you know, riding boots on like this. You know, you can still feel just a little bit of vibration. Nothing that's annoying or nothing that's you know, tickles your feet or your hands or anything like that. You can feel a little vibration in your butt, especially once you get up to those high highway speeds and interstate speeds. Yeah, you can definitely feel it through the seat. Seat's pretty comfortable. I'm definitely going to put something on this. I know they have like mesh covers you can put on it. Some people use like sheep, is it like sheep fur or whatever, and put on their seats. I'm definitely going to put something on it to help with padding and cooling. I haven't ridden it on a hot day yet, and already my, you know, butt starts to feel kind of itchy just, you know, from riding for like an hour on it. It is pretty cushy and pretty firm. I'm sure that'll break in over time and become even more comfortable. Let's see, they did rubber mount the foot pegs as well, so these foot pegs are rubber mounted to cut down on the vibration. They have these rubber pegs for the passenger and for the rider. I've heard guys complaining about these if they get their feet dirty or wet, that they're kind of slippery. I haven't experienced that yet. So far they've been pretty good. These boots have gripped them pretty well, but you know, we'll see once we get wet or get into some dirt and get muddy, how they perform. Probably be one of the things that I upgrade. Honestly, I don't plan on doing a whole lot of upgrades to this thing. It's pretty set up, it's pretty nice. You know, maybe foot pegs, taller windscreen if this adjustment on the windscreen doesn't work, moving it up to the highest setting that they have stock, and you know, maybe bags in the future. One thing, this USB, they get a USB thing here so you can plug in your devices. They have this nice mounting bar up here where you can mount your, you know, your GPS or your GoPro or whatever. So that's a nice little feature. I have heard from other reviewers that this USB thing keeps popping open on them, which is kind of annoying. I have not had it pop open on me yet, but I also haven't done any light off-roading, so maybe once I'm bouncing around it'll pop off. And then there's also the power outlet or cigarette lighter attachment there, where you can also plug in devices. Here's the control for the fog lights to turn them on and off. I always leave them on because I'm a motorcyclist, so I want everybody to see me. So brights are on, fog lights are on. I have every light on this thing on when I'm riding, so that people will see me, or are more likely to see me, because this bike is black. I do like, it's got kind of a flat paint, which does have like a metallic sparkle in it, as you can see here in the sun, but it is kind of a flat paint. The graphics are kind of like an urban camo, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the styling of this bike is really impressive. It definitely looks way cooler than the previous models. Yeah, it just looks mean and aggressive,